Yeah, I'm at it here. How are you, students? Week 11, and it's me just doodling away on this thing. I'm painting an old English actor who was called Dudley Sutton. Just preparing the underpainting. I use the same techniques I taught you. The brown underpainting, and then I'll do some more on it later on. So this is on the canvas. And you will be starting to go and work on that, because now we are finished with the self-portraits. I mean, you must have spent long enough on that now. You must be getting sick of looking at it. So we're finished with the self-portraits. And now we're going to do whatever you want to do. I'm doing this old guy here, but you can do anything, you know. What's the limit of your imagination? So take out that second canvas, the bigger one, unwrap it, and you can use the same techniques that I used, which is working with the underpainting and then working on the glazes on top of it. Or you can do something else. Here is one that I went straight on to the white with, and you can see that this is a scene from my imagination. It's based on the countryside near my house, a riverside walk, and these shanks are from the prison when I worked in it as an art therapist. Shanks are the name for the knives that prisoners make out of any old piece of metal or glass or anything. I mean, even this brush, if at the end is sharpened, they can use it. So there's something going to come together here from these experiences I've had. Now, obviously, most of you, I imagine all of you, are younger than me, so you don't have so many experiences, but you have imagination, your own imagination. Not the animation of anime or cartoons that somebody else has made and put into you, but something important for your life. Something that could be important, it could be simple, just your family, just your pet. Something important for you though, or something from your imagination. Make something up that's creative, make something up that's original. With these things, I just make them up as I'm going along. I mean, I didn't start off thinking about these shanks. That's the name they give them, that's prison slang for a knife, homemade knife. So I didn't plan that, but it's coming out, you know, because basically the great thing about painting is it kind of squeezes stuff out of you. It releases the stuff that's in you so that you get rid of that. You know, you go to the toilet after you eat, you need to go to the toilet. You know, I won't say for what, but you get rid of that. And it's the same with memories, thoughts, impressions and ideas. They collect inside here in the brain, and for a lot of people they end up festering with all this stuff and they get mentally disturbed. But with artists, the great thing about it is you can take all that stuff that's kind of going on inside you there and you can make something out of it. So you can be constructive with all the anxieties, memories, fears, thoughts and impressions that gather inside the brain, inside the cerebellum, and you can put them out onto a painting. You can be creative. That's what creativity really is. Learning how to make things unique and how to make them wonderful. So think of what you're going to do for your second painting. Now I'm going to do a quick art quiz with you. Are you ready? We'll just have a quick look at this painting, which is by Bosch. I'll write down the things on blackboard because it's a difficult name to spell. Bosch. Named after the town of Bosch, where he was born and living. So if he was born in the Bronx, he would have been called Hieronymus Bronx. But he's Hieronymus Bosch. And it's a painting which is hanging in Spain. Question 1, where does the painting hang? It hangs in the Prado Museum in Spain. It's there because the Spanish, who were always going around the world conquering in those days, conquered the Netherlands for 30 years war, and one of the things they took back was this. Of course they were in South America, as those of you who come from Hispanic countries know that you speak Spanish. That's because the Spanish were there conquering, and so they got this painting, and it's in Spain in the Prado Museum. It's divided into 3 sections. You've got the section here representing heaven, or the Garden of Eden, which has got Jesus here, Adam and Eve, and all sorts of strange creatures and animals. Some he's obviously seen, like this giraffe and the elephant. I doubt he'd actually seen a unicorn. And here are also very strange creatures that have come from his imagination. Now the center panel is called, the actual title of the painting, The Garden of Earthly Delights. So this represents Earth. Bosch didn't give the painting that title, it was given to it later. In fact, he wrote nothing about the painting, so everything we're saying is largely made up and conjecture. So at the top here we see humans with some sort of constructions. Maybe this is where they live. Here we see human females inside a large pool of water, and surrounding the pool are human males, and they are on different animals: goats, lions, giant cats, camels, unicorns, giant pigs, horses, you name it, they're on it. And these men are all riding around the woman. I don't know, your guess is as good as mine, but I think the men are trying to attract the woman, you know, and this is some sort of mating ritual. And then down here is the people who are getting together in this water. There's giant birds. There's all sorts of things going on here. There's people, heavens knows, you know, there's just a garden of, like a mad merry-go-round. And this is how he sees life on earth, you know, like it's this wild race to find a partner, to find enough money to live on. I mean, you know, it's not entirely dissimilar to what we're going through. And it's this madness on earth. There's somebody who's got himself, can you see that? There's a giant owl with somebody. So there's all sorts of things going on here. And on the last part of it, it's a triptych, which means 3 parts. It's painted in 3 sections, the painting. So we have here the hell. At the top you can see the conventional hell, which is fire and burning, so that's the hell of heat. If any of you have been in an apartment where there's no air conditioning in the summer and you have to sweat all night, that is a sort of hell. I'm just trying to make the hells relevant for us nowadays. There's the hell here of noise, which I think is represented here with this knife cutting its way through 2 giant ears and devils all around it. And there's the noise maker, an old pair of bagpipes. There they are. And that head there is Hieronymus Bosch himself. That's the artist. And then there's this giant shell thing, weird contraption but very interesting. And it's held on, floating on ice. And there's the ice. Now that's the hell of cold. That's another type of hell that you don't think about. If you've been in an apartment in the winter and there's no heating, which I was when I was in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I could see my breath, you know, I'd sit there listening to the radio and my breath was in you know, it was visible like smoke. So that was hell. And there's people skating on these strange things. And then there's this music instruments again with devils torturing people. And There's one of the devils here. He's eating human being souls and kind of shitting them out. And there's other stuff going on here. So this is a real hell of different types of hell portrayed here. Heat, sound, cold, and smell and filth and everything, and dirt. So that's those different hells, different earth, a merry-go-round of craziness, trying to make something out of it. And heaven, just Adam and Eve, kind of more pure and innocent. So there are his paintings done, his triptych. They're all one piece, they all fit together. Painted in the 15th century and hanging in the Prado Museum, Spain. And when people were in the 15th century, there were no art galleries or museums. Another question in the quiz. So the only place that people who were ordinary working people could see art was in the church. So they would go to the church and sit back and behold this wonderful sight. Imagine it. Take yourself back to those days. No cameras, no magazines, no comics, no newspapers, no books, no movies, no computers, nothing. Just working all day. Very hard life. Church once or twice a week. And there you would see something like this. And your mind would be blown by these incredible paintings 500 years ago. Hieronymus Bosch, The Garden of Earthly Delights, the Prado Museum, Spain. If you're ever there on holiday, go to see it. I'll put a couple of questions up for you on Blackboard. Please answer those questions for me by replying by email or text. And please start to plan your second painting. You can do a sketch of what you're planning, or you can go straight onto the canvas like I did. That's it for this week 11. Over and out from Professor Scott and Hieronymus Bosch's painting, The Garden of Earthly Delights, Art Quiz.